So spring is officially underway, and although it's been a little chilly here in Chicago, it's 50 degrees outside today, I kind of want to be out doing a little bit of tilling, maybe prepping my soil. But I am inside here doing something similar, and well, not similar, but working on a new project. It's called the My Garden Seed Basket. Essentially, it's just a little gift bag or basket that, well, I'm planning on putting little seed packets in it. Of course, you can put anything else you want to put in there for maybe your mom, your dad, a friend, anybody that enjoys gardening. Seed packets would be perfect, maybe a pair of gardening gloves, a gift card to a place where they can buy some gardening supplies, whatever it may be. Great for any occasion, especially spring, even Mother's Day, and so on and so forth. So it's actually going to go together pretty quick. Let's take a look at what we have here. So the main basket is made up of these two pieces here, and you'll notice that there's a few little like dark spots here. These are little areas that I inked. Most of this is going to be covered up by the pieces that we have here, so you can see why I only inked like those little areas there, just to kind of make them look a little weathered, because fences are, unless you just painted them, never perfect. So pretty much here, in between here, and then there's this little area up here where you may want to add a little bit of ink, and I would do that now before you put your little white picket fence on here and accidentally blemish the white part of it. I don't think you want to do that. So anyway, with that said, well, we're going to just kind of do some paper piecing here and then put this all together in the end. Okay, so I'm going to start off by, putting the white sections onto this color here. Now these, you'll notice that you want to make sure that you get the right little fence here. You'll see that there's these two little round areas. You want to make sure that those match up, because even though these are staggered equally, they don't match up with the little bumps here. So this is going to be for the other side. This one needs to go here, and as always, I'm going to try to work flat whenever possible. So let's just begin by getting this into place. Go easy on the glue, but definitely get the glue up to the very ends of each of the little fence pieces. Okay, so we're going to start off by putting the fence portion in place first. And you simply just want to line it up with the little round sections up at the top. And then of course, just make sure that it's nice and flush at the bottom as well. Just like that. I'm already loving the colors here. Those are looking really nice. So there is a front and back to this. The front has a little heart on it where we're going to put this little print and cut element. Okay, so that's going to go here. So don't get that confused with this other piece, because it will technically kind of fit, but you don't want to put the fence here where the door is going to be. Okay, so we've got this piece in place. Let's put this piece on next, and I'm folding it over just so that I get a better visual as to what I'm working with here. And now what you may want to do here is maybe do this in segments. It may be a little difficult to try to do this all in one shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on the left side here and the middle, and then just do that last piece, the right side, separately. It's kind of on a little hinge, so it should definitely lend itself to being kind of pulled away a little bit, and should give you enough give to throw some glue on there after this is in place, because it's kind of there's a lot of little details here that we want to make sure that we get right. Pardon my head for 1 second. Just want to make sure that I get this in the right spot and that it's nice and even. There we go. I want to make sure that it's nice and aligned with the bottom as well. That looks good. And just press that into place. Like so. Looks good on the bottom. Perfect. And some of these little areas here at the bottom where the fence is, we're going to be covering that up anyway. So if it's a tiny bit off, it's not the end of the world. So you can see here that this will now pull away so that I can get my glue on this section and avoid trying to have to do all of this in one fell swoop, which can be not hard, maybe a little challenging, but just don't want to mess anything up. And then because we already have it kind of in place, the alignment should kind of just, well, should just kind of work itself into the correct area. Okay, so there's the front of that. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this little, in my case, this little purple piece is going to go right here, and that is going to create our little door. Okay, so let's get that in place. And we've got a little bit of a thin area here around the heart, so go easy on the glue there. Definitely get that glue out to the little hinges that, well, the pretend hinges, I should say. And then a little handle. And just line them up with the little holes there on the white piece, just to make sure that you've got that aligned. Align up the heart and then the handle as well, and press that down into place. Okay. And while we're here working on this, we do have, in my case, we've got some gold hinge pieces. This is a gold foil. It's the mirror type. I'll just put a few little dots of glue on that. And this is going this way. You just want to line that up with the little hole there, the little circle, just like that. Grab the other one, we'll put that in place. And then we'll put our little handle in place as well. Or not our handle, but the little lock. I guess there's probably a little handle built into it too. I didn't get enough glue on there. There we go. Okay, again, just lining it up with the little circle there, like so. Okay, and our little handle, you'll notice that there's a round section and there's a pointy section. The round section is going to be on top, pointy section pointing down. And again, we're just lining it up with the existing little hole there on the two previous layers. And there we go. Okay, now at the end when we're all done with all this, we're going to put a little three-dimensional flower right here. Okay, so don't need to worry about that just yet. All right, now while we still have this, we have some pretty little flowers that are growing on this little trellis, and that's going to get glued on right there. We do have one additional layer that goes on top of that. So we just need to find that real quick. There's a total of 4 since there's a section on the back as well. So just make sure you find the correct piece that matches up with this solid green piece like that. Okay, and I did hit this with a little bit of a bit of a darker green ink, and we do have a lot of little detailed areas here, so you want to try to get your glue out to the perimeter on as many of these as possible. Sometimes when you're working with a patterned piece of paper like this with text on it, it can sometimes be hard to see where your glue is, so just do your best to make sure you've got enough glue on there so this thing stays together. Okay. It's a fun little project. Shouldn't take too long at all. Okay, and we're going to glue this flat onto this piece here, and you can see kind of where this goes, just like that. Okay, and then of course as always, we'll probably add a little bit of bling to the little cutout flowers on this. So let's get our glue on this section now so we can glue this down. Just trying to work flat whenever possible so that I don't crease or warp my paper, and it sure makes it a lot easier because we've got the table helping us. When we push down, it's basically pushing it back up, and it creates a lot more pressure. Things dry a lot faster, and I'm sorry if my head's getting in the way again. There we go. Just press that into place. And then again, one other thing too, there's going to be a little heart that we're going to put here. I'm going to actually pop dot that. So I'm going to leave that for later, but you can see how this is starting to turn out already. Not a difficult project at all. Shouldn't take long, mostly paper piecing, and then just a one section of actually, putting together something dimensional. So kind of taking it back to scrapbooking at this point for a little bit until we get to the last point, or last part, where we actually put together the structure, which is just 2 or 3 tabs, not hard at all. Okay, so I'm lining this one up with the coordinating piece, like so. Just make sure you get it as accurately aligned as possible. Let me turn my phone off here. Okay. Oh. There we go. All right, and we'll flip her over and do the same thing here. Just get our glue onto as many of these sections as we can. Don't go too heavy with it, nice and thin. This definitely keeps your brain young, doing these little tedious little things with the glue. Okay, there we go. That's nice. That looks nice. And again, we'll put the heart together in a second. It's literally just 2 layers that you put one on top of the other, and then we'll pop dot that to give this project a little bit of dimension. But you can see how nice that is turning out already. So essentially at this point, minus the, well, there's some more stuff we got to do, but this section is pretty much done. So I'm going to put that off to the side, and actually you may want to just slip that underneath your mat so that it dries nice and flat. And you can grab the other half here. And again, you'll notice that I did kind of hit these little areas with some ink just to jazz it up a little bit. Okay, and here is the other side of our little picket fence. So let's get that in place. Again, make sure you get that glue out to the perimeter as closely as you can. Don't overdo it with the glue. And certainly get that glue up to the little round parts of each little fence so they don't come pulling away once everything's in place. And just do your best to get that nice and aligned and centered and matched up with each of the little sections of the fence there. That looks good. Looks pretty level at the bottom. I'm happy with that. Yep, that looks good. So far, so good. All right, now the main section here. I'm gonna pop that right into place, and it may help to fold that under so that you can get this in place better. With this one, we may just have to go all in here and just do the whole thing, because I'm afraid that we may not be able to pull this apart or pull it back like we did the front side. So let's just do our best to get the whole thing covered with glue here without overdoing it. I've got a few little areas there where the glue is maybe coming out a little bit too heavy, but it'll be okay. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm looking at the center part of the fence here. Pardon my head again. Just want to make sure that I get everything nice and aligned. And then I'll show you what I did here in a second. There we go. Beautiful. If it's off a tad, it's not the end of the world. Don't go crazy. Don't lose your mind. Okay, there we go. And then, of course, we'll get these pieces out just like we did on the front and find the two that work together, that match, and get those glued together, and then we'll get them glued in place. And once we have this together, we'll, like I said, we'll put the actual structure together, and then we do have a little overlay that's going to go at the bottom to kind of simulate some grass or some bushes. Okay, so just lay that right on top of that matching piece. Press that down, make sure it's making good contact all the way through. Just like that. I'm going to do the other one real quick here. And I'm putting glue on this pattern piece instead of this piece here, because if we put glue on that, we may get glue in an area where it'll show through any number of these cutouts, and we don't want that. So definitely put the glue on the top layer here, which in my case is a pattern piece. Yours may not be a pattern piece. You might want to just do a color, and that's fine too. Okay, I gotta kind of work quick here before this dries. And just give that a little bit of a nudge in whatever direction it needs to go, just to ensure that it's sitting right on top of that green piece there. There we go. All right. And now we can flip her over, get our glue on the back of this, and pop this into place. Again, not overly concerned about getting glue on every little square inch of this because it's not necessary. I would just focus on the perimeters, making sure that the very ends and tips of everything are not coming apart. There we go. And that looks nice. And one more here. I really think that if you focus and, well, I always blab during these and I'm demonstrating things. If you follow along with me, I think you could probably get this together in under an hour. So far, we're not even 30 minutes in, and the majority of the work is actually done. So a great little gift, super quick, one of a kind. You're not going to find anything like this at the store, that's for sure. And your gardening friends are going to adore this piece, guaranteed. Okay, all right, so that's that. Okay, now we've got, let me grab the other section here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to join these two sections together by using this tab here. So let's get our glue on this tab. And then, as always, nice thin line out to the edge. I'm going to paint that glue out to the very, very edge. And I should be able to put this down flat. And just push that up as far as you can up against that fence. Make sure that the bottom is nice and aligned, as well as the top. And just press that down. Let that, give that a second to set. You can fold it over onto itself. And then press down at that seam where we just connected everything. Okay. And now, one more time with this tab. Let's get our glue onto the tab, a nice thin line out to the edge. You can use your finger, you can use a scrap piece of paper. If you have some other tool that you prefer to use to kind of paint that glue, go for it. Whatever works. There's no right or wrong way. Just match that up as closely and as accurately as you can. And then let's fold it over onto itself. Give that a press. There's probably going to be a little bit of resistance here where these two pieces of fence kind of match up, and that's because by design, we kind of made the fence a little bit longer so that it's more seamless when they connect. You can see how you don't see a little gap there, okay? And that looks nice. So all that's left to do now is close up the bottom. So let's get our glue on these 3 tabs. And we are gonna have to work this way because the little handle prevents us from flipping it upside down. So, and that's okay. I've had to do things like this before and it works out nicely. It's not a big deal. Okay, last tab. Okay, and let's paint that glue out to the edge all the way. You can always go in and clean this up later if for some reason we don't get enough glue in some spots. Okay, so now we're going to take this part that's already hinged and connected, and you want to line it up with the side opposite of the side that is already hinged, and if necessary, kind of give this a push in or out just to make sure it all lines up. It should just kind of fall into place just like it is now. And I'm going to flip it up and press down from the inside to help those tabs take hold. And then just check my work. That looks great, actually. It looks like everything connected nicely. Well, almost. This little section here needs a little extra love, and that's fine. Beautiful. Okay, so inside here, you can see the tabs. What we're going to do is just put a little bit of glue around the perimeter, and maybe a little bit on the inside like that. And we're going to take this extra piece, pop it in there. That will help make this piece a little stronger and hide those unsightly tabs. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. So that alone looks great, but of course we've got more. So what we're looking at here is we've got these 2 pieces here, okay? And the way this is going to work is on the front, we're not going to cover up the door, so this little section is going to go here, like so. And you've got this section that's going to go here, and then a part of this is going to come back here. It's just a tiny little section, because ultimately we're going to use this to pop that on there. Okay, so I have a little tiny area there that is not playing nice. So I've got a scrap piece of paper here. I'm going to throw a little bit of glue right on the very edge of it and just shove this right in between those the two sections where they need better contact, and I'll just press and hold that for a moment just to make sure that it in fact sits nice and flat for me. Okay, so I think the best way to do this is, well, I've already folded this, obviously. You can see that I've folded at the score marks. Let's put this down with the center piece first. Okay, so get your glue on the center section. Don't put any glue on this section or that section. The sections are separated by score lines there. Okay, so just pop this into place. Make sure it's nice and flush with the bottom. Nice and completely flush with the bottom like that. Press that into place. Hold that for a moment, especially the little corners here. Okay, and then you can kind of continue to apply pressure to that section while we put some glue on this section here. And fold that over, press that down. Okay, and then we can move on over to the front. Let's pull that back and get our glue on this pretty little bush here. And then we'll just fold that over. That should be nice and flush with the bottom as well. If it isn't, you can just kind of give it a little bit of a nudge up or down. Should move for you. And there we go. Okay, so that is that. And of course, we're going to repeat the same process here on the other side. So you want to fold at the score marks, and we're going to begin by putting glue on the center section, just like that. And pop it right in the center. Make sure that the bottom, bottom of this green piece is nice and flush with the very bottom of our basket. Okay, and again, while we're applying pressure to that, you can work on this section here. And just fold that over, press that down, then head over to the front, fold that back so we can get our glue in there. There we go, and again, just make sure it's nice and aligned there at the bottom. Beautiful, just like that, there we go. So you can see how, that's lovely actually, very pretty. And it looks like I've got a little gap there. I don't think anyone's going to notice, but I notice. I'm just going to use my scrap piece of paper, pop a little bit of glue right in between that little area where my fence isn't really sitting completely flat. And I'm going to press that down and hold that down for a second and let that really gel. That looks great. Okay, so now we just need to flip this over so we can see the back. And we have this last piece that we're going to put in place here to cover up those two little sections. And that's just going to make everything look more seamless. You're not going to see a gap in the corner. And it'll kind of pretty up the back as well. Add a little bit of green. Kind of bring everything together here. Okay, so I'm looking at the little bumps here to the side of the fence. And also I'm using my thumbs to kind of get a feel for whether or not this is nice and flush with the bottom, and it is. And I'll just press that into place, just like so. You can actually put that on your table too, and press down from the inside if you'd like. And there we go. And see how nice and seamless that all looks all the way around. So, a couple things left to do. Remember those hearts I was telling you about? We've got two large purple hearts with one little white one. And I did hit these with a little bit of ink. I did a light blue on the white, and I just hit the purple one with a little bit of a darker purple. So I'm just going to put the smaller heart right in the center of the larger heart. Okay. And as I mentioned, we're going to take and we're going to pop dot these, or use some foam squares to put them up on the top of the little archway. I think it's a trellis, I'm not sure. I don't own one, so I'm not sure if that's what it's called. Vocabulary is never really, well, I guess vocabulary is a strong point of mine, but I don't know everything. All right, so we'll just throw a little foam square on here, peel that back, and we'll pop that right into place, right at the center of our little arch. Just make sure you line it up nicely, just like that. You can see how nice that looks there. And we'll do the same thing on the back. And then all that's left to do is just finish this off with the flowers here. We've got, well, there's going to be, you'll notice that there's one large flower, and then there's, the rest of them are smaller. There's two that go on the front and three small ones that go on the back. So 3 small on the back, 2 small on the front, 1 large on the front. And I'll show you what I did with those here in a second. As far as the flowers go, you'll notice that we have sets of leaves here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are the same. One of them is a little bit different. This one is the one that's going to go on the front. Okay, and it looks pretty symmetrical. So anyway, to give all of these leaves a little bit of dimension, some added dimension, just take and you can just pinch the tip like this. Just kind of pinch the tip of each of the little leaves to give it a little added oomph, just like that. And I did hit these, all of these leaves with a little bit of green ink around the outside to add a little more interest to them. I've already kind of pre-creased some of these, but it's the same process pretty much all the way around. And we're just pinching the very ends and tips of the leaves, just like that. I'll do it one more time here for you. Literally just taking and using my pointer finger to kind of crease the center or push down in the center while I'm using my thumb and middle finger to pinch it. Okay, so very simple little process. And then as far as the flowers go, rather than having them be flat, you can take a little dowel and just curl them towards you. So I'm putting each of the petals in between my finger and the dowel and just curling it towards me. And then once I have it curled, you can take it and just kind of squish it together between your fingers while you roll it to kind of give it some dimension. So the smaller ones, we're going to glue right into the center of our little leaf. And then if you want, you can use a dowel to push that into place so you don't end up squishing the little flowers. Okay, and anyway, the large one, same thing, nothing different there, it's just slightly larger. Just gonna curl those little petals and then just kind of twirl it in your fingers there. And that one is gonna get glued to the center of the set of leaves that has 4 leaves. So just pop that right in the center. You can use a dowel to push that in place. Just make sure it's centered. Mine's kind of off a little bit. You got a few seconds there before it fully sets. Okay, and then this one here, the larger one, we can either glue it or pop dot it right underneath where it says garden. This is a print and cut, so you're going to need a machine that's capable of doing print and cut to have that. Otherwise, you can stamp something there or use your Cricut to write something or your Silhouette to write something. I didn't like where that was positioned. I'm going to redo that real quick. And then I'll show you where all these go. You don't need to watch me do that because it is kind of repetitive. But like I said, the large one's going to go right here. You're going to take 2 small ones on the front, and you want one of the leaves pointing towards the corner, and the other 2 pointing out that way and that way. I think you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. And then this one's going to go here with one of the leaves pointing to this corner. And then on the back, same thing, except we're going to have 3 flowers. The center one here, where did it go? I'll just show you here real quick. The center one's going to be pointing up like that. And then this one's going to be, again, 1 leaf pointing down towards the corner. And then the other one on the other side pointing down here. So you got 1, 2, and 3. And that's pretty much it. Now, you're going to want to take a look at the final photo and even the trailer, the little teaser video that we release with every bundle to see where and what else we added. You can actually look at the photo as well. I'll take a photo of the back so you can see that too. But I've got a bunch of pearls that we'll be adding between in the centers here of the little flowers. We're going to put some pearls in the middle of these flowers and just kind of jazz it up. It's beautiful as is, but there's no harm in adding a little extra bling here and there. So anyway, once it's all said and done, get some seeds, gift card. I may put some green paper shred in here just to kind of fluff it up a little bit and present it that way. But in the end, very quick project, very pretty, and the gardener in your life is going to love it. So hope you enjoyed the process. If you did, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. That lets me know that you are a fan and you enjoy crafting with me. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, we'd love to see it. So head on over to your Facebook page and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, where you can join myself and the almost 20,000 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So happy spring, happy gardening, and I look forward to crafting with you again.